Karen Razzo of Great Bend, and Zoe Counts of Salina Central. The 5A record, and this one also pretty outstanding. You talk about these records in 2016. How about all the way back in 1983, Allison Decker?
Wow, from Salina South, 1983.
Now, Molly Bourne broke the record in 6A in 2016, and a record I don't think anybody thought would ever get broken, and that was Kathy Saxon from Shawnee Mission, who just dominated the 2A back in 1979 to 1980 and just was not touched by anybody. That record looked like it was going to stay there for a long time. Then it got broke twice last year in class by Lowe and Bourne both.
Mary Nelson has the best time, best seed time coming into this final race in this 3200 girls 5A out of Mill Valley.
In second place, Independence.
And bunched up here as we start the first lap.
With the new state meet record of 10:28.80.
Movement in the back of the pack, trying to find some room to run.
Well, there's almost a couple of trips right there, and just cannot find room. There's a lot of pushing going on.
Yeah.
And you don't want to see that, but we'll see what the corner judges think of that one. They're just really trying to jockey for position. No reason to try to force your way into this. You cannot win this on the first lap. I know there's probably some people that are trying to get up there, and they're boxed in right now. You look at the runner from St. James. That is Sarah Murrow, who has been doing a lot of pushing and nearly got tripped up again right there as she sits back in 7th place right now. They're just not cutting each other much slack right here. This looks almost like an indoor race than an outdoor race.
When it's bunched up like this, what is about the time we should expect to see a move?
Well, I think some people are going to want to try to get out of this. You look at people that may try to speed up. You don't want to panic, but you think, I got to get out of this. I'm getting kicked. I'm getting spiked. I'm getting pushed. There's another one right there.
She almost went down.
Where they're just not running very smart right now. You do not need to be running up anybody's back. Either get out there and get around them, or just sit back and relax. You don't need to run up somebody's back. It is kind of according a little bit because they are in such a pack right now, and they're running 2 and 3 abreast. If someone decides to slow up a little bit, it starts to squish the pack together, and that's when you have a chance of going down. But this race really ragged right now in the Class 5A 3,200 meters.
It is bunched up, and so we check out all the leaders kind of all packed in there. That's Karen Razzo of Great Bend was in the lead, and now she's falling back.
That's Sovereign of Aquinas. Trying to move up there in the white top.
It's Olivia Sovereign.
Sarah Murrow, the one in the maroon and blue, has been getting pushed and doing quite a bit of pushing. You get it, this is what you always tell your runners. Take one foot around you and protect it with your life. You know, don't let anybody give you any guff whatsoever. Don't let them push you. Don't let them elbow you. Don't let them sit there and try to take your spot. You get your elbows out a little bit. Sometimes you got to throw a little wood there and get the elbows sharpened up and start slinging them around a little bit, or just try to hold some people back. When you're in this kind of situation. We've talked about tactical races. This is what happens when you get in a tactical race. You're looking at 7 people. How many of them belong up there at the front? It's kind of hard to tell, but it definitely makes for some very tight racing. It can make for some trips and some falls if you're not careful.
Again, Olivia Sovereign, she's wearing bib number 1144 from St. Thomas Aquinas. She's on the inside, sharing the lead, really looks like, and trying to make out. Here we go, 385 is, that's Abigail Stewart from Emporia. And here's a good look at the two.
Mary Nelson in the dark blue with the stripes right there in the center of the screen, just off the shoulder of Sovereign.
Mill Valley, again, she comes in with the best seed time, and they're still pretty bunched up.
Well, they are. They're going to sit here 2 by 2. This is at the 3/4 mark, and it's at 4:14. Which is not particularly fast.
Sovereign, Morgan Coca, Abigail Stewart.
You mentioned it reminds you of an indoor race. It's almost like those indoor speed bicycle races where everybody bunches up and then somebody finally decides to take off.
That looked more like roller derby there for a little bit. A lot of elbows going.
Fortunate no one fell down a couple times.
Well, it's early in the race. If that had happened 6, 7 laps into the race, you would go down because there's just not enough energy in your legs to hold you up when you're in that kind of situation. You very easily could have taken the fast elevator to the track. Everybody looking very relaxed. This is going to be a tackle race. It is not going to be a fast race by any stretch here unless someone decides they're really going to start to try to turn the screws on their competition.
Certainly a contrast to the girls' 4A race we had earlier.
Oh, indeed, yes. It's
not even close. And if you just joined us, Kaylee Logue from Girard just dominated in the 4A, winning her 4th straight 3,200 title. And she also has the 4A record. I believe she broke that again.
How about Sarah Hobbs, by the way, also in there in the fight. She is in the back of that pack, which is starting to string out. There goes Sarah Morrow a little bit, trying to put a little pressure on the field.
We have 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go,
halfway
and it is pokey. It's about 5:45, 5:50 for 1 mile or 1,600 meters.
Sarah Murrow trying to stretch it out a little bit. This has been maybe so far the biggest lead of this race, if that's worth anything at this point.
Right there hanging back in 5th place, right on the shoulder. That is Liberal's Cameron Slayton, who is hanging on to 5th place as the field becomes a little more linear now. Stringing it out.
Our top 5 right there.
Sarah Morrow. Enjoying the absence of wind. The wind has really died down, but the temperature is still way up. If you are running the 3,200 meters, you would really like to see this be about 45, 50 degrees, not 85 degrees, at a track temperature approaching 3 figures.
Look out there, too, for Mary Nelson down in Mill Valley, number 1442. She might be the favorite.
Sitting comfortably in 4th. She has a 11:39. You have to think that she may hold the trump card here in the
3 laps to go.
With Liberals, Cameron Slayton also looking very comfortable. Nice arm swing. All of these
follow the leader, single file right now.
Morrow has her hands up pretty high. Seems to be kind of the going trend of running now. Getting the hands up high, get them in a position kind of neutral where you're not expending a lot of energy.
Honestly, didn't realize how the arms and hands were so important in the running process. I mean, especially when you're talking about the weightlifting and training and getting your arms strong.
Well, it's not so much, you want strength, yes, because especially, and you're looking at races more along the 800 and the 1,500, especially in the 800 where efficiency is so important. You've got to have very efficient power. You've got to move forward and backwards. I always tell the runners, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Don't let anything go side to side. Any kind of kinetic energy you're throwing side to side, you're throwing arms side to side or anything like that, wagging your head side to side, that's just energy that is not propelling you forward, and that's what you got to have.
Again, these 5 young ladies have been pretty bunched up the entire race. It was kind of a pack of 8 at one time, but down to 5.
That is Stewart right there in the middle of your screen with number 5 on her lane bib.
And Abigail Stewart from Emporia is Olivia Sovereign from St. Thomas Aquinas on the outside. Next to Sarah Murrow from St. James Academy. See our local competitors in the Kansas City area. St. Thomas Aquinas, Overland Park, and St. James in Lenexa.
Sovereign deciding she's going to try to get things going. And the person you got to watch right here, of course, that's Mary Nelson, because she has the fastest time, but she is laboring. You got to think she does not want to let this get out of hand. Cameron Slayton having a pretty good race, but it looks like this may shape up to be a two-person fight right now unless Nelson can really come up with something special. She is starting to fall back a little bit. Also, Stewart starting to lose contact, and she's going to lose third place.
Murrow and Sovereign.
Now on the award stand, class 6A.
Murrow behind Abigail Sovereign right now. Or
West, Sarah Peterson. In 7th place from
Olivia
Johnson
Sovereign,
City,
I'm sorry.
Savannah Adams.
St. Thomas
6th place
Aquinas.
from Wichita East, Jamila Love.
And this is the Bell lap.
One more to go. This should be pretty good.
You're looking at about 11:25 for a winning time.
Let's see who decides to really pick it up. And right now, stretching the lead a little bit is Olivia Sovereign from St. Thomas Aquinas. In the white top.
Well, you got to know, did she kick too soon? Is Morrow going to have an answer? This is where you start dropping the hands a little bit. You see the hands start to come down.
Like
You see the
Murrow
arms
maybe
starting to
catching
pump.
Now could, at this point, any of the three behind them starting to make a move at all?
This is going to be a two-person fight. You look at Stewart trying to hang on to third place. When a little bit of lap traffic, that can always be a problem. That runner doing a great job of staying in place and not doing anything drastic. Now you see the arm swing as you see
It's Olivia Sovereign.
Sovereign try to start pumping the arms.
This should be an interesting finish. They come down the stretch here. Crowd egging them on.
And Murrow trying to close the gap. Here comes Murrow pumping her arms. Sovereign does not have an answer as they start to sprint. Sovereign, and they bump, and Sovereign hits the tape first, and Murrow showing disgust as she hits the line, as Sovereign looked like she came out from the first lane out into the second lane, and they bump shoulders. Let's see if